This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
This is going back to the letter that you didn't find. Sorry, Corey's mom.
June 18th, 2020. My name's Corey Winfield, and this is the 217 Recovery Podcast. Something I started when I got out of my last treatment center. It gives me purpose, and it keeps me sober. That's why I do it. Did radio for 20 years, and I did in the early days, would drink when I was on the air because I thought it made me better. But then I heard a commercial that I had done, and it was so bad. I was so embarrassed. I'd turn around, go back, and redo it. And I was so drunk during the commercial, and I could tell, and I'm sure everybody could tell. And I was just praying nobody else in the whole world heard that commercial. And then I vowed to never drink again on the air, and I never did. So I took that knowledge of what one thing that I put above drinking, and that was being on the air. And I turned that into a podcast. People have been telling me ever since I left radio that I miss you and I wish you did a podcast. I just had no idea what I was going to do a podcast about. And then in the last treatment center, it kind of hit me like, yeah, I need to do a podcast about recovery. And then a woman that was working there was like, why don't you do a podcast about recovery? And I was like, yeah. Well, I don't know about recovery. What do I know? If I get out of here, I'll have 3 months sober. Nobody wants to listen to a guy with 3 months sober. What do I know? I was thinking about that today. And, hopefully, when I say this is 100% true, that I'm as close to my last drink as I will ever be. Now I'm even further away than when I just said that. So a lot of it is still really, really fresh to me. In 5 years, 10 years, am I going to forget? Probably not, but the feelings, that the rehabs, the treatment centers, the mental hospitals, the mental ward, wherever, they put me wherever I went, those things are still kind of fresh, in my mind. I have a year and a half sober now, so, like I said, hopefully this is the closest I'll be to that last drink. Hopefully. I was talking about how I do the show for myself, and Kevin, our 217 Recovery Ambassador, he's in St. Louis, Missouri, and he's a big fan, listens to the show. We love you, Kevin. Love you a lot, man.
Man.
Even Tyrone does. But he sent me an email, and I sent one back and just say thanks, because Kevin seems to send the emails at the right time. Like, sometimes I'll be getting discouraged or, what's happening with the 217 recovery crew and, people leaving and, kind of stepping down, or it's just changing. And it's like, right when I think I have it's going great. And then it's just, and looking around, and they're still the main players. There's still Anna. There's, myself, of course. And, there's opportunity to add more people. So I have to kind of look at it like that, but it gets frustrating sometimes. And then boom, here's an email from Kevin. It's like, still got Kevin. Glad he's still listening and he's still talking about us in St. Louis and spreading the word to his buddies down there. And and that really does mean a lot. But in the email Kevin sent me, and I think I told him that it's just sometimes, man, it's like, am I doing, too many podcasts a week? Am I getting myself burnt out? And I don't think so, because I talk about recovery all the time. But he sent me an email back, and he said there was a story in the Big Book about this couple who opened up a sober living house. And during the first year, they had 50 people come into the house. And during that year, they had 50 people leave the house and go back out and drink. And the two were talking, and one said, here we are a year, and we had 50 people come in, 50 people go back out, and still drinking, and we're failures. We didn't help anybody. And the other said, well, we're still sober. And that's kind of why I do the podcast. I can't make anybody else in this world stay sober. I can't. It's just not possible. Some of my friends, they tell me they're sober, and I don't believe them, but it's not my job to believe them. It's not my job to keep them sober. And sometimes they'll say to me, I thought it was your job to, call me to see if I'm. It's not my job. And when you just kind of go ghost on me, it's pretty clear. And not that there's anything wrong, but you don't have to lie to me. You don't have to lie to yourself. Like just pick yourself back up, and all you have to do is just start over. Hopefully you're learning stuff along the way. And that's if you really want to be sober. Some people are made to go to treatment, whether it's the court or whether it's family, threatening, oh, I'll leave if, you don't go to treatment, if you don't get help. And they don't really want help. And it's very scary at first thinking that you can never drink again. So keeping that in mind, that I had those same fears, I just pushed them back thinking, wow, in 5 years, I'll probably land a gig somewhere, get a radio job out in California, somewhere real far away again. And my family won't know. They won't see me. I'll just keep it under control. I never lost a job in radio because of my drinking. I almost died, but I never lost a job, so I could at least keep it together enough to go to work. So I could probably still do that, just drink on the weekend. So I always had that like push back in the back of my mind, like, yeah, it sounds good, yeah, I'll quit drinking. Oh yeah. But until I came to terms with it, it was still back there, and it was always lingering. And once that is in your brain, at least for me, there's no hope for being helped until I was 100% ready to give up. Like, boom, okay, fine. I won't move to California. I won't ever drink again in 5 years. Because I know whether it's tomorrow, whether it's 5 years, whether it's 10 years, if I ever pick up a drink again, it's on. And it'll be on just like it was. And I have worked too hard to get where I'm at now to go back to that way of life. And I don't want it anymore. And I was driving to work today. I was thinking about the same thing. And, to think how scared I used to be about, oh, I can never drink again. And how now today I'm just like, I'm glad I don't have to drink. It's such a refreshing feeling. And I'm assuming that it's the same, or could be the same, with all substances, alcohol, heroin, opiates, I guess, if you just want to call it that, meth, sugar. I don't know. Like if you just take that kind of approach with it, I think it could go a long way. And I'm telling you the truth when I'm telling you that life is good. And I am so thankful that I don't have to drink today. I was reading Marnie's blog yesterday. It's P.S. I'm grateful. If you want to check that out, it's a good blog, 217recovery.com. And that have all alcoholics got to that point where you're dumping out pop to take back the pop bottles? I mean, I've been there, and then I realized that you don't have to dump them out. You can just throw them right in the machine. Yeah, they might bust somewhere, but I'm just saying, I was that desperate before. I was like, oh, just throw them in there. I don't have time. But, yeah, she was saying stuff like that, like waking up, getting the change, and I've been there, done that, taking the bottles back, been there, done that. And I'm just so thankful to God that I don't have to do that today. So thank you, Lord. And that's a little bit about 217 Recovery Podcast, and thank you for listening. I was talking to a woman today, and she was concerned about her son, and I guess he had kind of, well, I don't want to say lie, but yeah, he lied and told her some things, and she asked me about it, and I had to tell her, no, that's not true, and I can't really get into the details about it, but it was a lie, and he was trying to get something that he wanted, and he didn't care, who he was lying to, and he knew that, once the mom would come, then life would be better for him, or at least that's what he thinks, and that's what he was, I'm assuming, thinking. And I kind of explained to her today, I was like, look, for me, I hurt my mom a lot, and my family a lot. Not physically, not really with words, but just with, I don't know, like give up, or like they would believe in me every time, and every time I swear I really wasn't trying to lie to him. I just thought, hey, I do want to quit drinking right now, and never could pull it off. But I kind of let her know, like, hey, here's my story, and here's what happened with me, until I actually found purpose in my life. And a lot of people get that confused with, well, I got a job, and I'll be cutting down trees, or I'll be working for the electric company, or that's great that you can make money, and that's cool. And actually, that's a way of trying to give yourself a sense of purpose. Like, hey, well, I got this job. Look at me. I'm not a failure. Yeah, that's cool. And it's great to have jobs, but at the same time, what else are you doing to make yourself purposeful? Are you being a great father? Are you being a great son? What is it? And I have no idea what it is for you or what it is for anybody else. But finding that, I can tell you, for me, helped a lot. And I've been there. I'm going to get this job, and I'll do this, and, just a job for me wouldn't cut it. So that's something that you definitely have to watch out for, because just like, I have a job. So if you have a loved one that's like, I'm going to a treatment center. When I get out, I'm going to go back to work with Bob and them, and I'm going to be making that money, and I'll be good, and I'll be sober. Okay, well, how many meetings are you going to hit? You going to chair some meetings? Start thinking about recovery and how you can live your life in recovery and not be a dry drunk. You can stop drinking and you can go to meetings, and you're not going to be happy because you're not replacing anything with something good. Have a sense of purpose. Have some goals. First, I'm going to make it 6 months. Then I'm going to chair a meeting. I'm going to see if I can chair the meetings on a Wednesday or Thursday. Or you're going to start a Zoom meeting. There's different ways to stay sober, and there's different ways you can help the community. Talk to your township hall or your city, or look up food banks or food kitchens. Find something where you can give back and have a sense of purpose. And don't just, show up at the soup kitchen, I clean the tables off. No, show up at the soup kitchen, clean the tables off, do it with a smile, say hi to people, get to know people. And people will approach you and they'll ask you, well, what's up with you, man? What are you doing here? Is this, like some kind of court order thing? And you say, no, this keeps me sober. And again, I'm just throwing out soup kitchen, but it could be anything. If you can find something that will keep you sober, something that you put above drinking. For some people, it is the families. Some people, it's not. For me, it wasn't family, unfortunately. It was radio. It was my career. And that's why I turned it into this. And I'm not saying that. I know I just told you, it's not a job. Don't just go to your job, Bob. And maybe that is, But I'm just saying, be careful with I'm going to work and I'll make money. Everything will be good once I make money. Because that is, in my opinion, a false sense of purpose. Yeah, you're making money. Yeah, that's good. Ask me how much money I made off the 217 Recovery Podcast. Negative about $4 or $5 grand. So it's not, it's not, I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because it gives me a sense of purpose. So, but yeah, so take it for what it's worth. But I do appreciate you listening. And Jill, it's Shout Out Thursday. So Jill, Lisa, Malcolm, I really hope you're listening, my man, back in Benton Harbor. I just hope you are. Ryan, 217 Ryan, in the room, 217 Ryan. Skodik, it's not how you say his name.
Man,
but I was close. It starts with an S. Yeah, it's definitely not Shodick. That would be a good name though, Ryan, if you wanted to change your last name to that. Kylie, gotta say what's up to my mom. I think she still listens from time to time. Yeah, everybody listen. Chris Goss, I know you secretly listen, but that's okay. You don't have to tell nobody. I know you miss me too, bro. Gotta give a shout out to Dale Hall, to Joyce. Where did we go wrong, Joyce? But no, thanks again for listening, though. 217 Recovery Podcast.